You ever wanted to try cyberbullying? Well, now you can. Bully us and we'll bully you. Follow us on social media and give it a go. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at YOUH82CIT, or you can search for You Hate to See It on Facebook or YouTube. You can also visit our link tree to find all of our links. Just visit linktr.ee/YOUH82CIT. Again, that's YOUH82CIT.
Welcome to the new episode of Jury of Drunken Opinion, not Drunken Jurors. I almost fucked up. I almost fucked up as much as this man that we're talking about. Nick, who the fuck are we talking about?
We're talking about Hernan Cortez.
Perfect.
Yep.
This isn't Drunken Jurors, so I don't care about how scuffed the intro is. So I'm Jeff.
I'm Adam.
I'm Nick.
Nice. I am drinking ranch water hard seltzer. I got the variety pack. I'm drinking the original. This shit's real good. I'm worried about tasting spicy next though. That is just the name of this one.
So I can't remember. I think it's Rain puts out like a thermodynamic strawberry jalapeno that's actually really good.
The fuck do you mean thermodynamic?
Thermogenic? It's the shit that's supposed to like heat up your body and shit.
What is the
thermodynamic is like energy and like fucking power. The laws of thermodynamic is, I think, how the universe
it
works.
deals with heat, work, and temperature and their relation to energy, radiation, and physical properties of matter.
That's just how the world works.
You're doing great.
You dumb as shit. I can't wait for you to lead us.
Yep. You're welcome. To battle, my drink of choice is going to be a bottle of bourbon that I open up, place next to me, and then I drink water.
I will be drinking Truly lemonade.
We're a seltzer podcast now.
Bourbon.
JK, we're not doing that. This is just until I lose some weight, and then I'm gonna go back on the binge of bourbon.
I was gonna say beer.
By the time this comes out, Jeff, you might have lost the weight.
I don't know exactly what day it is.
That's definitely gonna happen.
Wow, thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Damn. Savage.
Get fucked.
When the fuck does this one come out?
I have no fucking clue. That's not my job.
Don't worry about it. Let's just start. Let's just start.
Let's
just start. Jeff, let's just start.
All right.
Jesus Christ. God damn.
Hey, when does this? Okay, now I'm curious.
Nick, February.
Oh,
it's out in February.
Ow! Why am I recording it now?
We're getting ahead, buddy.
We haven't recorded anything for November yet. We've done January and February.
I'm gonna have a strunk. All right.
Fucking something. It's going to be war crimes on this fucking podcast.
Why do you sound like you are in the middle of a wind tunnel?
Because I am.
There it is.
Good luck editing now.
Okay.
Hey.
The cut tool is amazing. All right. So since we're just starting off, what do you gentlemen know about Hernando Cortez, the conqueror of Spain? Of Mexico, not Spain. He's from Spain.
Literally nothing.
Nothing? Adam?
How much did you learn on Hamilton?
Yeah, how much of Hamilton did you learn from this?
Nothing.
Nothing? All right. Damn, Hamilton's really dropping the ball these days. All right.
I like to think that Hamilton's just a reoccurring like docu-series on Netflix now of just historical events.
Yeah, right. They actually just renamed the History Channel Hamilton. Most people will know Hernan Cortez as the man who conquered Spain and brought down the Aztec Empire. His full name, Hernando Cortez de Monroy y Pizarro Altamirano.
Please tell me you refer to him as that this entire time.
Fuck no. History has even dropped the dough from his name. It's no longer Hernando Cortez. It's Hernan Cortez, as everyone calls him now for some fucking reason. I didn't click on the Wikipedia article for Spanish naming customs, for my own mental health. Or as we'll be referring to him as, Hernan Cortez, was born in the town of Medellin in 1485. Medellin was at the time a town in the Kingdom of Castile.
It's the farthest back we've gone.
Yes. And you know what the best part is? We now get to unravel the European monarchs of
Great.
the 1500s.
My least favorite thing in history class.
Because fuck me. I spent 30 minutes trying to unravel this bullshit. Castile, at the time of Cortez's birth, was ruled by Isabella I of Castile and Ferdinand II of the Aragon. They're the ones who financed Columbus and completed the Reconquista, and that's where Spain kicked the Moors out of the Iberian Peninsula. We're not getting into that. Their daughter, Jonah the Mad, was married to Philip the Handsome.
Can we talk about why?
Yeah, I sent a picture in the group chat this morning of what Philip the Handsome looks like.
Also, just the names. Like, fuck last names. Just let's describe them in one word to make them them.
Yep.
Why was she the mad?
So she probably wasn't that crazy. She might have suffered from depression, bipolar disorder, and maybe schizophrenia because her grandmother had it. But mostly it was so that way her father and her husband could keep her in prison and therefore rule without dealing with her. Welcome to Spain. Welcome to European royalty circa 1500. This happened a lot.
I thought politics were bad now.
Yeah. Well, Philip the Handsome, Archduke of Austria, was Archduke of Austria, and that brought the Habsburgs to Spain. Because why the fuck not? Let's just get all of the inbreeding. When Philip and Jonah died, their son Charles I became king of Spain. King of the Romans, basically the king of the Germans. Then the king of Germany, Croatia, Italy, Holy Roman Emperor, Archduke of Austria, the Duke of Burgundy, and the Lord of the Netherlands. This was Charles the First. I fucking hate the Habsburgs. For the record, I listened to a 30-hour audiobook on the Habsburgs. I don't understand a single thing about this. I don't get it.
That was like me when I started listening to The Last 100 Days of JFK, which you guys will have known came out
In November.
2 months ago.
Yep.
3 months ago.
November.
Yep. Yeah.
Whenever November is.
Yep. I can't wait to listen to another book on the fucking Habsburgs just to try and understand this shit. Anyway, back to Cortez. Cortez's early life was pretty boring. He traveled around southern Spain for a few years. He studied to be a lawyer. This would become really helpful for him in the future. When he was about 16, he returned to his village and heard the story of Columbus's discovery of the New World.
Oh yeah. Fuck, that happened right around now. 1492. Yeah.
Yep. And then he was born in 1485. So
Jesus fucking Christ.
So
the United States of America wasn't even around yet.
No. Granted, this was like 1,000 years after, or not 1,000 years, like 800 years after the Vikings discovered the New World, which was also wild, which was 80 years after. I fell into a rabbit hole of discovery here. Cortez arrived in Hispaniola, now Haiti and the Dominican Republic, in 1504 when he was 18. He bought land, started a farm, assisted in the conquest of Hispaniola in Spain. For his support, he received more land and slaves, indigenous slaves. They hadn't started
Moving
that.
people.
Yeah, there were still enough natives before they got wiped out by the plague.
The plague.
He would eventually be promoted from clerk to treasurer of Cuba by Governor Diego Velasquez at 26.
I feel like clerk to treasurer is quite the jump.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple of years. At this point, he was friends with Velasquez. That will change. The main job of the treasurer was to make sure the crown received its quinto, basically a fifth of the profits of anything conquered. Gold, everything.
Import, export.
Yeah. In 1518, Velasquez granted Cortez a charter to explore and possibly colonize the interior of Mexico. Cortez was so good at recruiting men that Velasquez got jealous.
I'm sure he was.
And revoked the charter. I think that was a dick joke.
No, it was a homosexual joke.
Ah, okay.
Which are not okay, but
gotta throw that one in there.
Fuck that guy.
This is where Cortez begins his campaign of telling Velasquez to go fuck himself. Cortez went to a different port, rallied more men and ships, and sailed his ass to Mexico with 11 ships, 500 men, and 13 horses, and a handful of cannons. And by handful, I'm guessing like 6. He left in February of 1519 and would land on the Yucatan Peninsula. Cortez would find a shipwrecked Spanish soldier who was held captive by the Mayans and learned their language. In March, he claimed the coastal area for the Spanish crown. He moved west and won several battles against the natives, eventually conquering Veracruz, dismissing Velasquez and placing himself under the direct authority of King Charles. I don't know how that worked, but he did it. He declared it, so it happened. And as extra incentive for his men, he destroyed all of his ships, just so his men knew that there was no going back. It was either you push forward and conquer or you die. So
yeah,
that happened. And then they had to rebuild ships later. Maybe if you didn't destroy them. Now, before we get into how the Aztecs were destroyed by 500 dudes, we need to unpack how Cortez was both brilliant and extraordinarily lucky. The Spanish had about...
Isn't that really just the whole thing of war? It's being lucky as shit.
Kind of, and then there's also just being good. Like Cortez, yes, Cortez was lucky, but he was also like really smart. It was kind of wild. For a man who had almost no military experience. And by almost, I mean, like, he fought, like, in a battle in Cuba. So, the Spanish had about 1,000 years on the Aztecs when it came to the production of steel. Being a Spanish conquistador was different from that of being, like, a Spanish soldier fighting in Iberia. It paid extremely well. You were expected to take what you could carry, and that would pay for your steel armor and weapons. This is basically the steel chest plate, the helmet thingy, and then your swords. Most of the weapons were made from Toledo steel, which was considered one of the best steels for sword making in Europe. They also had flintlock muskets and light artillery, and like so much fucking black powder. Like they had more black powder than food. And whenever like there was like a problem and like shit would start burning or like start sinking, every man knew you saved the black powder instead of the food. No matter what happened, the powder stocks were well defended and maintained, and the men who knew how to make black powder never saw combat. Meanwhile, the Aztecs used armor called I'm so sorry if anyone who listens to this actually can pronounce this word. I don't know. The armor was called Ikshahuipili. We'll go with that. Probably not right, but Ichihuipili, that was made of tightly woven cotton and cloth that was effective at stopping arrows and even musket balls. There were several accounts that
I guess musket balls didn't have a high velocity, but
no, there's no rifling. It's just a ball. There are several accounts of Spanish soldiers in later conquests, whatever, just getting rid of their armor and wearing this because it was lighter and more breathable in the Mexican humidity.
It's that time. Doing a little taste test in the middle
All right,
of this.
hit me with it.
Oh, that is odd. It's not overpowering, but like it's just a very subtle, constant taste of jalapeno, and I don't hate it. Not in love with it, but it's not horrible.
Jalapeno is not bad. Like the flavor of jalapeno is not bad when it's not.
I love the
overly
flavor
spicy.
Of jalapeno. Yeah, I love the flavor of jalapeno.
Yeah. Jalapeno. We're talking about the
See, that's why I got ranch water from Texas. Never forget the Alamo.
Remember.
Wild.
Adam, do you even know who you are?
Adam.
I feel like he's just saying words to sound like he's
just
here.
said words. He just said words at this point.
Wild, Adam. We just talked about an entire genocide of children. Wild
good times.
Oh my god. Fucking hell. Oh my god. They also used a sword-like club called the Maquidal.
What the fuck is a sword-like club? Those are two opposite things. One of them is sharp, one of them is a blunt object.
Have you ever seen a cricket bat?
Are you fucking kidding me?
There's a point to this. Have you ever seen a cricket bat?
Yes.
All right. Now stick fucking shards of obsidian on the sides of the cricket bat. There's your sword-like club.
What the fuck?
Here, I'll
No. I get the idea.
Yeah. So that is a sword-like club. So a huge thing about Aztec warfare is that it was meant to capture. They would use darts with paralyzing agents they got from shoving it up a frog's ass. And they would try and wound whenever they could.
Are we not going to talk more about the frogs?
Yeah, I'm very interested, Nick.
Let's do it.
All right, continue on though. We're not going to talk about the frogs.
No, because they didn't actually shove it up their ass. They just kind of scraped it on the
Nick,
back.
why are you spreading false information?
I was being cute.
We're going to be taken off YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I forgot. We haven't been on it for 8 months.
So
I see the clip guy's just gonna blow past that.
The clip guy likes to do blow.
They use darts with paralyzing agents, that so they would be able to capture as many slaves as possible. So like the reason they had a club like
How powerful
sword,
is it? Like,
what?
is it like the second it hits them, like 2 seconds later
No,
they're hitting the ground, or is it like they run?
It hits them, they run, and then they just kind of, oh hey, I can't feel my jaw. Oh, why is my body soup?
Oh, that's depressing. It's like hunting. You shoot the thing and then you have to go track it. What the fuck?
That's literally what the Aztec Jaguars were. That was their entire job, was
Seems
to
lame.
do that, but to villages.
Lame.
So like the Maquidal, the reason
yes.
they had the sword like club, they had it only on the edges and not like shards pointing in like on the wide face, was so that way like if someone was running, they could just smack him in the face with the front side of it and he'd just drop unconscious instead of, putting a chainsaw into their neck. Go watch Deadliest Warrior. They literally did that. It's really cool. Obsidian is also sharper than steel.
Isn't it
So-
brittle though? Like it flakes easily.
It depends on how it's done. Like it's like a
I know it's like easy to work with, but it's durable as fuck. It's like weird.
Yeah, it's volcanic glass. So
Yeah.
it's a really interesting compound. So they would have these slaves, not just for forced labor, but also human sacrifice, because woo.
I do like human
Wait, hold on.
sacrifice.
Oh, the Aztecs have them for human
Yeah,
sacrifice.
no,
I thought
Spanish
you were
didn't
talking.
do.
I was like, what in the fuck are the Spanish sacrificing people?
No. When the Spanish saw this, they were incredibly appalled,
Yeah.
and then proceeded to kill everyone. So, the human sacrifice was done with extreme regularity and was extraordinarily brutal. These tactics of raiding their neighbors and kidnapping them and popping open their rib cages like crab legs did make the Aztecs many friends.
Why?
I want you
Why?
to never, ever describe things ever again.
No.
Never use metaphors.
No, okay. After a handful of victories, so human sacrifice, not fun, not pleasant. They did this almost daily, and like at times they would be sacrificing like 100 people a day during certain holidays.
What in the fuck? Who they like their own people or just
No, slaves.
enemies?
No, like slaves.
Of course.
Like this was literally what the Aztec Empire was built upon, was raiding villages, taking people, bringing them back. Like if you killed people in combat, you were thought of as a lesser warrior because you couldn't bring them back to be sacrificed.
No, I agree.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, after a handful of victories, the other natives saw that the Spanish as unbeatable and immortal. That they thought that they were gods or the envoys of gods.
Nope, just a more developed nation.
Yep. They thought if we can't kill them, maybe the Aztecs can't kill them either. This had a lot to do with the fact that they didn't have any effective killing techniques, because all of their methods of war was to capture. They were taught capture, go for the legs, sever someone's Achilles. Don't bludgeon them, don't cut off their head.
I'm assuming they also didn't really have anything other than blow darts as ranged weapons. I mean, they probably had bows.
So they didn't.
Oh.
I can't remember. Maquatl? Atlatl?
Axolotl?
No, I was right. Atlatl. Atlatl was basically a stick with a hole in the back of it.
Same.
You wedge a spear into, like a throwing spear into it, and then you pull it back behind your head, and then you just whip it forward. And that was what they used instead of bows and arrows.
Nice.
Yep. It had a greater velocity than a javelin, so it was pretty lethal. Yeah, so it's basically like the tennis ball thing for dogs, but with spears.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah. That and dart and actual like blow darts and throwing darts and shit. Cortez was almost killed 3 times throughout the campaign, but because the Aztecs wanted him alive, it gave his men time to get to him every time. He was almost thrown off the top of a pyramid, but because some of them wanted to take him alive, it gave time for his men to kill the Aztecs and save him. A huge understanding on the part of the natives was that it took them a few years to realize that the rider and the horse were 2 separate things. And knocking a rider from his mount was a lot easier than trying to kill the horse.
What the fuck?
They hadn't seen horses before. Horses hadn't been in North Americas since the closing of the land bridge in the Bering Strait, like 10,000 years before.
It's just wild.
Yeah, so like
They never
legitimately-
saw a person get off of the horse and
No.
think that, oh, we could kill the person.
No, and so Cortez had translators. So like the Spanish priest or the Spanish shipwreck guy was able to talk Mayan, and then there was a woman who Cortez would eventually marry who spoke Mayan but also spoke Aztec, and they had this weird like triple to quadruple fucking translation thing going on. And in talking to them, they were able to realize, oh, they think we're gods. Oh, they think our cavalry is just one giant monster. So,
Some weird inbreeding.
Jeff, we worked around horses. Horses are fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
Even if you know how horses work, horses are terrifying.
yeah, they're big.
Yeah.
Big
Now
boys.
imagine having a fucking club sword with rocks in it, and that's it. There's a story about how it could cut through a horse's head. It fucking can't. And a lot of the times when like they would end up killing the horse, they'd kill the guy on it so quickly that they couldn't tell those two separate things.
God damn it.
So yeah, that was like horses, you know. Hell, if you get body checked by a horse, it's not going to be a good time. After learning about the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan,
Of what?
Tenochtitlan,
Of course,
or
yes.
Tenochtitlan,
God, I bet you were butchering all of these.
Tenochtitlan. I'm actually pronouncing that one relatively close. Cortez was determined to enter the city. After multiple attempts to set up meetings with Moctezuma II, the leader of the Aztecs, he was finally invited into the city. On his journey to Tenochtitlan, he made alliances with many of the local smaller tribes in the area, gathering hundreds more men to join them in the inevitable fight against the Aztecs. In October of 1519, Cortez and about 1,000 local fighters marched into the city of Cholula. Fearing collaboration with Moctezuma and a surprise attack, Cortez ordered his men to butcher the local nobility. That was about 400 people. Can't really have the ideas or the locals getting ideas. On November 8th, 1519, Cortez was greeted by Moctezuma II after entering the floating city of After entering the floating city of Tenochtitlan. The entire city was a massive expanse of canals made and man-made floating islands. So like the city was in the middle of a massive lake, and they just built floating marshes and shit. So like they could farm on the island, they could fucking raise cattle, not cattle, but like animals on the island. It was pretty crazy. It was you couldn't attack it because they just raised the fucking bridges and you could move the tiles.
Yeah.
You literally move this shit around. This meant that only people allowed into the city had to be guests. This also meant that when the Spanish were staying on the island, there was no way off. It's important to note that the entire time they were talking, neither Cortez nor Moctezuma trusted each other. Eventually, Cortez would essentially just go to Moctezuma. Hey, they also set like the Spanish up in their own little like mini city inside the city, to where that like they could garrison and shit, and set up Christian temple or Catholic temples and churches and stuff. So at some point, Cortez went up to Moctezuma and was just like, so you're coming with us and you're going to live in our little city. And if you don't, we're going to kill you. And he did, because he didn't want to die. And he also didn't really want to see his entire city be burned against these crazy white dudes.
Why not?
Because we'll get there. It happens.
It
What I
all
just-
makes sense.
What I just described happens. So eventually Moctezuma becomes a captive to Cortez. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Your empire has fallen. In April of 1520, Velazquez, still governor of Cuba, sent Panfilo de Narvaez to find Cortez and kill him. While Cortez declared he was under direct authority of Charles I, it took 2 months to cross the Atlantic, assuming it even got there. And Cuba was much closer, and Velasquez really just didn't give a shit. Narvaez landed with
Allergy season's hitting all of us right now.
It's a fun time out here.
I've been crying for the last 30 minutes.
oh, my bad.
Well, this is a sad story, so
Narvaez landed with 1,100 fresh-faced troops. Cortez returned to the coast with 400 men and a few hundred locals, leaving about 200 men in Tenochtitlan with Moctezuma. After a few short battles, Cortez convinced. I'm sorry, I'm all of a sudden congested. After a few short
you know what actually clears congestion?
bourbon.
If
Yeah.
you lick my butthole. Oh, sorry. We were on
Both.
2 different wavelengths.
No, I think we could make those two things the same.
After a few short battles, Cortez convinced the new troops, that he was no longer under Velasquez's command, and that if they followed him, they would be richer than they could ever dream. So, you know that legal work Cortez learned about when he was a teenager? This is literally how he convinces 1,100 guys to be like, hey, I'm captain now. Me. Fuck that guy. I'm in charge.
Perfect.
Somehow it fucking works.
Gotta love those people.
Yeah. When Cortez returned to Tenochtitlan, the uneasy peace was deteriorating. Moctezuma had all but lost control of his people, who now saw him as weak and under the control of the Spanish.
So like
Which
how
he
we see
was,
you.
to be fair, he was.
I can't wait for that to be cut out. My joke.
I didn't even hear it, so
All right. I can't wait. I can't wait
I-
for the laughs later on then.
I don't know how I'm under control of the Spanish, but thank you. So Cortez got him and his men the fuck out. They fought their way out of the city, leaving their cannons and much of their gold. This is when Cortez actually went full on crazy man. He started building brigantines, basically small warships in the lake. Yeah. Using these and the help of the natives, who the Aztecs had pissed off for about 300 years, they burned Tenochtitlan to the fucking ground, even though it
To
was
the
on a
water.
lake. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The joke that was the funny. So this would mark the fall of the Aztec Empire and the beginning of New Spain, which Cortez would be promoted to governor by Charles V. Charles the First. Charles the First, because Charles V was never born.
oh, interesting.
Yeah. Charles the First. In 1524, he would lead an expedition to Honduras and would eventually be relieved of command because Velasquez was still being a petty bitch and convinced the regent he needed to be investigated for murder, which he did commit, to be fair. He did murder the guy he was traveling with. Granted, he accused him of treason first, but you know, when you're the only governor in an entire new continent, I guess anything goes. In 1541, he went on a small expedition into the Algiers. For some reason.
No, this
He was
is
in
Sometimes you
his-
just gotta find
He
out.
was in
man.
his 50s at this point. Also, the Algiers was under the control of the Ottomans, so he almost
Oh.
died.
Wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Ottomans didn't really like the Europeans at any point.
To be fair, this was like 100, maybe 100 years. Maybe could have been like 60 after the Spanish had just kicked the Turks out of the Iberian Peninsula. So
Yeah.
hard feelings. He retired and died in Spain in 1547 at the ripe old age of 62.
That's how I want to go out.
He
At
went
the
back to
ripe old-
Spain. Oh.
Yes, at
I
the
mean,
ripe old age of 62, Nick, I want to be dead.
Well, to be
That's it
fair,
for me.
he was
Year
in Spain
before
for quite a
retirement.
bit, yeah. He was in Spain for like a couple years, and then he went to Africa. But, yeah.
I can't
I've
tell
lived-
you how much I didn't care about this man this entire time.
This went well. Okay, so
I'm
fuck.
I'm here for it. I'm
No, it was a cool story. I just don't
I'm
care for the
dying.
man.
I am dying on the inside and getting drunk. It's all good.
Yeah.
I just it's not that I don't find the story interesting. I just don't care for this man. Like
you don't find him to be a good guy. Well, if it makes you feel any better, he destroyed a fuck ton of Aztec temples and put up crucifixes instead.
hey,
Haven't
that's
we
your
all
thing,
done
man.
that?
Yeah,
That's a you thing.
that's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, He
That's
he
a
Fucking
you people.
yeah.
Catholics.
He also gave birth, well, not gave birth, but sired the first he sired the
I
first
thought for a second I
European
thought you said that
child.
he had gay birth, and I was
Oh.
like, this is wild.
We're
he
getting more and more
sired
confused.
he sired the first European child to his translator born in the New World. So that was the thing. Or not in the New World, but in Mexico at least.
So this man literally
The dirty world.
lived with the Aztecs for a while, ran away with 1,100 men after just telling them that he was the captain now, and then went
Well-
back on some weird ass made warships to burn it to the ground.
So to clarify the timeline, he lived with the Aztecs, left with like 600 guys, went back to Veracruz, and
Okay.
met the 1,100 guys, said, "I'm the captain now," and then went back. Also, this entire time there's like 600,000 people in Tenochtitlan, and the Spaniards never have more than like 1,500.
Well, I mean, yeah, when you burn an island, I mean, kind of fucks everything. Like you can't really run from the fire anymore.
Yep. They also like made these really weird like moving pillar things to like protect them from while the Aztecs were like throwing rocks at them when they would try and advance up the temples. Yep.
Interesting.
The entire time they were worried that they were just all going to be thrown off of a fucking temple.
Europeans to the New World, man, not good.
All right,
Everything
well,
bad.
Before we start saying, "Oh, poor Aztecs," they did sacrifice hundreds of people a day.
I'm not saying like they didn't. I'm not saying they were good people.
There's a reason that all of their neighbors went, "We like the white guys on horses better. We like the shiny white guys with thunder sticks."
It go boom,
Yeah.
and then
Imagine-
someone fall.
Imagine how loud that was, how loud that must have been hearing a fucking flintlock rifle go off after never experiencing that before, not hearing a firework. Nothing.
Nothing
Just all of a sudden, boom.
other than like a crack of thunder.
Yeah.
Like, and these people just make it with this gun every 2 minutes.
And they were able. This reload time was about. I think they could do it about every 45 seconds. They could fire a shot, and most they could get off was like 2 shots a minute. But then they also had, the best steel in Europe at that time, or some of the best steel in Europe. So they also had cannons. That's a thing. And
And
let's-
these weird hybrid men with horses.
Yep. Yep,
Those crazy bastards.
Yeah, that's wild. Yep.
Can't forget about those guys.
Yep. The fact that it took them almost 2 years to realize that horse and rider were two separate things is wild.
I vote he's out of everyone we've covered. I don't know. I really feel like Benedict Arnold wasn't that bad, other than the treason.
yeah. Honestly, if we really look at hindsight, out of everyone we covered, Benedict Arnold ain't that bad.
This guy,
he never committed war crimes.
Yeah, this guy, he's not the worst, but he's definitely like a middle of the pack.
I'd say the worst is probably Tojo and Hirohito.
Yeah.
Rommel was just kind of there.
I mean,
it's
he was
still
a
up
Nazi,
for debate.
though.
Yeah,
That kind of just throws you down there.
He was never a member of the Nazi Party.
Yeah, well, he defended the Nazis. He fought for the Nazis.
He did. He was the Weimar. So, and then at the end, he did try and overthrow it. Really, again, if there's one thing this podcast does for you, I wanted to let you think, get them brain juices flowing.
I don't like it. It hurts.
It's not Hamilton. It's not in a play format. Made into a movie.
Oh my god. So yeah, that is. Hold on, let me read his full name again. Hernando Cortez de Monroy y Pizarro Altamirano.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
That guy.
Yep, that guy. And then
Fucking
next
player.
up, hopefully the next one will. Honestly, it might take me 2 months to fucking read 3 months to read the fucking De Gaulle book. So
Yeah.
that actually might take me that long.
It do be do that way.
Yep. It's been about 40 minutes. I don't have anything else written.
That's fine.
It is what it is. It's a shit podcast.
It is.
All right. Well, thanks, Adam, for showing up while editing stuff. Really needed you to be here.
You're really welcome.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's it for this Jury of Drunken Opinion. If you go down to the link or into the description, you'll find our link to the link tree. Has all of our social media links, and the top link is to our Podbean. If you click on that, top right hand corner, you can click on Become a Patron. You can pay a certain amount of money per month, and at the $1 tier, you get the Taskmaster special of both years now, from season 1 and season 2.
Who won?
also-
Go find out. Available now for $1.
And then you also get access to our Discord. At the $3 tier, you get the unedited video versions of the podcast, and then you get more rewards the higher up you pay. Sometimes there's feet pics involved. We don't know what tier yet, but it's there.
Oh, like this.
That sucks to be you, doesn't it? Bitch.